Hi, I'm Chase Carey of Chasing Mindfulness. Brittany Wiggum with Corporate Health Partners, along with your leadership team, brought me in to do some mindfulness and meditation exercises in December. It is possible some of you missed those. Also, the recording failed. So we are going to do one today, and your leadership team will make it available to everybody. So what we're going to talk about today is I want to teach you a little bit about mindfulness and meditation. And my nickname is Chase. It's not actually my name. It's my nickname, but that's kind of my personality. Theory, sit around the fire pit, have a beer, have a glass of wine. Let's talk about it. Those are important things. But I'm really as to what can I do to help you change your reaction to life, transform your life right now, today, before you go away. So I'm going to share a few things of those with you. By the way, just as way of background, I am from corporate America. I worked there for 20 years. I rose up to VP of underwriting for Aetna in the Southeast. I did try to get them to teach meditation at the time, and the medical director very nicely wrote back to me and said, Chase, you're just way too ahead of us. 17 years later, Aetna started teaching its employees meditation. The other thing is, please understand that I'm a certified yoga teacher, certified mindfulness and meditation teacher, having started at the Monroe Institute, and I'm a third-degree black belt. So I will sneak in some of the black belt mindset ideas. I won't tell you which ones are which, but they all go together. And so to do any of those things, including you with your jobs and raising families and working with customers and clients, it takes a lot of talent. You've got a lot being juggled these days. And I entitled this webinar, Mindfulness and Meditation for a COVID World, because the COVID world is quite a bit different. For some of us, we've struggled with it. My wife and I had COVID a few weeks ago. We were fine, ended up in an emergency room, and then we recuperated at home for a couple of weeks. No big deal. A lot of people have it more challenging than that. But in the meantime, it's thrown everything in the world upside down, and people are reacting differently and being differently and thinking differently. And so we're going to address that a little bit. So let's go on and see what we have here. All right. Okay, the bottom line of stress. This is really important. Again, you don't have to write it down, but I do want you to think about it. All emotions we have, except for love, are a result of our thoughts, okay? Stress is a result of a perceived threat or part of you that perceives that threat, and we'll talk about that a little bit more, coupled with uncertainty. Fear often expresses itself as resistance. Do you have a coworker, or a client, or a family member, or friend that just simply won't do something that makes complete sense? That's it. Stress is an expression of fear. Anger, rage, hatred, those are all expressions of fear. But don't beat yourself up. We all have them, and we have them at different times. They tend to be buried in our subconscious mind, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. That's very, very important. Most people don't really know that. And I want you to have a little fun looking in the right-hand corner. Here are three buds who they're a little bit stressed because one of their friends just got fried, literally, and they think they're next. Okay, I want you to know, not to think, not to believe, but to really know that each and every one of you, each and every one of us is divinely loved. Sometimes it's really, really hard to feel that. It's really hard to sense that. And it could be hours or days or weeks or even months when we feel that. And those are difficult things to come through, but it does take some mental toughness, kind of some black beltness to get through those. And by the way, I use the word divinity, divinely, as a word that is in America commonly understood. At least many people have the same definition of it. If your tradition has a different word, whether it be God or universe or source or just love, please use that. As my good friend the Dalai Lama says, he teaches mindfulness and meditation to help people improve in compassion in their life. He doesn't want anybody to change their religions or their jobs or their spouses, because they're become mindfulness practitioners or meditation practitioners. Certainly, for those of you that may work out in the gym, you don't change anything else because you do that. I do have to fess up, because this is being recorded, that the Dalai Lama actually doesn't have any idea who I am. But if it's a good connection out there for me, I'd really appreciate it. All right, let's talk about some of our crazy emotional responses. You know, some of them aren't so crazy, and I'll explain those for a minute. If you pay attention to network news or other things, you'll see and hear about more and more very extreme reactions to things. Now, we've all had these, particularly as a young male. You know, a lot of you on the video today are males, and some of you are young, and at one point we all were, and we did some pretty stupid things. We really let our emotions overtake us. And that's happening more and more these days. And that's because fear is rising up that people didn't realize they had. We look to others for answers about COVID and other things, and they don't always know the answer. And that may be why one day the answer is this, and the next day the answer is that. But I do want you to know that you are divinely loved. So we've all seen somebody, and hopefully this is not one of your coworkers, who had this, just what seemed to be a crazy reaction to a fairly normal situation. I remember years ago, a guy coming into a Burger King. He had purchased, I don't know, 3, 4 hamburgers and a couple of fries and a drink, and they forgot one of his fries. And he just slams the bag down on the counter, and he demands his money back. And the manager was very, very apologetic. And he gave him his money back and said, please keep the food. And he's like, no. And he stomps out. Well, the guy was not upset about missing the fries. That can be frustrating, can be annoying. But there's something else going on. And I want you to look over at the volcano on the right of the screen. Our subconscious mind can be like that. We can have fears and things that all of a sudden just get triggered, and maybe we've gone our whole life without having that experience, but it becomes so overwhelming that we have difficulty breaking ourselves apart. We have difficulty standing to the side and understanding that our reaction is a reaction that is part of us. And like a volcano, it's explosive, but just as bad as it creates a lot of downstream breakage and hardship and destruction. An effective response when you have a team member or a customer that's having such a situation is to let them express their feelings. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but when someone's upset, sometimes let them blow off steam. Be non-judgmental, keep them safe. Make sure that if they get so upset, they go to do something stupid, like get on a big piece of machinery or whatever else it may be. And by the way, I think you guys are all extremely lucky to work with big machines. I consider that one of the coolest things on the planet. You know, just hold these people safely and let them express what they need to express. Now we have rules and regulations and appropriate behaviors, and those are very important. They serve ourselves, they serve our customers, they serve the industry we're in, they serve the community. But that doesn't mean just because one person has a really stressful situation that they can't contain, that they're a bad person or they're not a good employee. These things happen. And I often tell people that if you don't have at least a mini breakdown every few years, you're really not pushing the envelope of life. And that's okay. When we have explosions, it's because we've triggered a fear. Breathe. It's the single most important thing you can do to release emotion. If it's a severe emotion that's going to persist for a while, go to sleep if you can. But otherwise, just step back and breathe. You've never seen a professional sports person go onto the court or the green or the field without taking a breath first. whatever the magic is with breathing is when we breathe, we can't think of anything else. So if you go to do mindfulness and meditation, which we will in a few minutes, understand that if you get distracted, let those distracting thoughts in, just come back to center and breathe again. It will do you a lot of good. It's kind of a more effective way of counting to 10. We've all heard that expression. I'm going to play a 2-minute video for you. This I want you to pay attention to. It's very, very interesting. And then after that video is over, we'll come back to this. I'm going to switch screens now. See if I can get to the right video. There I am again. Hi, everybody. And then where's my video? Here we go. Share. And then I'm going to play this. It's about 2 minutes. It's worth it. Okay, now we're going to come back to the other screen and get that little thing out of my way. And we're going to come back to this. So what happened? And I know you're thinking, hey, I thought this guy was going to talk about mindfulness and meditation, and I will get to it. I wanted to show you some things that mindfulness and the meditation bring. So we had whatever the number is, 30, 35 metronomes, all clicking at different times, different beats. But after, I think it was roughly 1:54, there was a lagger in the front. They all started working in harmony. What I want you to take from that is you are a team. Whether you're a team in the retail office, a team in the field, a team in management, a team in leadership, you're still all one big team. And how one of you feels and expresses affects how everybody else feels. Now, I have no proof of this, but I believe this is why walking in the woods and walking in nature can be so helpful to balancing our emotions. Trees are such enormous creatures relative to ourselves that the energy they have, and yes, all living things have energy systems to us, help keep us calm. I know that's always worked for me. Again, that's called sympathetic resonance. Let's see if we can go to the next screen. Okay. We must care for each other. There is no them. There is only we, there is only us. I may have done that backwards. You see everybody in this team working together. Now you at Yancey Brothers may not be nurses and doctors, but you know what? Nurses and doctors could not do what they do. I could not do what I do right here. Nobody could do what they do if it weren't for people like you. Your equipment clears a lot and creates the foundation for all buildings on the planet. That is so important. Do not ever believe for a minute that your job isn't just as important about what medical people do or what firemen do or policemen do. You create these scenarios, you create the physical environment in which those people can do their things. Don't ever forget that. Now, unfortunately, I don't think there's ever going to be a TV program about heavy equipment. There might be. There was a big truck program a few years ago. There's certainly not going to be a program about meditation teachers. But that doesn't mean you don't make an enormous contribution. Appreciate that. By the way, when you appreciate things, you let go of all resistance. And we'll do a little bit about that in our meditation and mindfulness in a minute. And then down here at the bottom, do you remember the axiom that a chain is no stronger than its weakest link? So we all support each other. There's not Ted over there and Mary there and whomever somewhere else. It's us. How are we doing? Let's talk about mindfulness and meditation. The things I spoke about so far are the ways that people that have mindfulness and meditation disciplines view the world differently than many people. Mindfulness is really being gently in the moment without any kind of judgment or expectation or anticipation. Typical mindfulness exercise may be looking at a flower, and we just gently are with the flower. We notice that it's red. We don't think, gee, it should be yellow. We don't think, gee, that's not the color red I was expecting. We don't have any judgment that the flower's not big enough or too small, etc. And we don't have any anticipation of what's going on next. We are right here in the moment. The reality is, being right here in the moment is all we have. History is past. You can't go back and change that. The future hasn't happened yet, but there's a lot of scientific evidence that shows that how you think and feel now does affect what your future will look like. Go back to the sympathetic resonance. Look at how that group of little tiny instruments came together automatically. Now, meditation is a much deeper science. It's creating much enhanced mental clarity and connection with who you really are. It's really going from mindfulness, where we've quieted our mind, to creating a blank slate, to going within, to find our divinity within, our connection with source, whatever your tradition may refer to that as. So that's kind of a combination of what meditation is and how meditation is. And by the way, for those of you with prayer practices, prayer is the largest form or largest use of meditation on the planet. So it really is very familiar to many, many people. All right, we're going to do a little bit of a meditation now. I'm going to take off my hat because it's getting a little hot here, if that's okay. I hope you enjoyed my little creativity this morning. And what I'm going to do is ask you to get comfy. You might want to move your arms and legs around. You might want to shift. If you're in a place where you can lay down, if you're watching this in a store, please do not lay down in front of the customer counter. Don't do that. And just relax and just kind of let your mind quiet itself. If a thought comes into your mind, that's okay. Just view it as a cloud sailing on by. It's not, it may be an important thought, but it's not an urgent thought. Okay. Also, if you can darken the room or put an eye covering, that helps to activate the pineal gland, which is thought to be the source of intuition for many people. Ask any woman about intuition. Let me tell you, they've got it going. So I'm going to ring a bell, and this is just simply going to take us into signify the change from normal waking consciousness into meditation. I'll guide you through some of it, and some of it will just be quiet. Okay? Just envision that blank wall in front of you, nice and quiet, no expectations. There's nothing you need to do. Nothing that happened earlier today is going to affect what's going on during your meditation. There's nothing that's piling up for you to do. You're here. Your employer wants you to be here. They want you to take care of yourselves and each other. And just kind of relax into that for a moment. Gently put your attention on your breath. Notice the inhale, the hold, and the exhale. Pardon me. Just notice your breath. Inhale, 1, 2, 3. Hold, 1, 2, 3. Exhale, 1, 2, 3. Let's do that again. Inhale, 1, 2, 3. Hold, 1, 2, 3. Breath out, 1, 2, 3. Let's do it one more time and see if we can just kind of top off the in-breath. Breathe in, 1, 2, 3. Top off a little more. Hold, 1, 2, 3. Release, 1, 2, 3. Remember, if you get distracted, simply come back to your breath. And don't worry about it. Everybody gets distracted. Imagine yourself on an elevator and you're moving your focus from your head, where most of us think our consciousness is, and we're going to go down and down and down and down and down into our heart center. That's where you want to be. Feel yourself moving down into your heart center. You may even feel yourself moving heavier and heavier in your chair, or even moving through the floor. And when you get to your heart center, just feel how wonderful it is. You may feel warmth, pressure. You may perceive light. It can be anything. If you feel any part of your heart in pain, please express in your feelings extra love for that aspect of your heart. And in your heart is access to what we refer to as universal love. It's pure love, unconditional, not romantic, pure love. And you can feel your hearts connect with those around you. Your heart is the most powerful electromagnetic organism in your body, at least with an electromagnetic field. Feel your connection with others. Do that now. Some connections may not feel as strong as others. Some connections may feel resistance toward your connection. Not everybody is ready to accept love, but we must love them anyway. Notice how much more relaxed you may feel of your environment, your work environment, your home environment, your outside of home and work environment. Many of us work quite a bit these days under very difficult deadlines with fewer resources and more restrictions. This will pass. It will pass. And you are strong enough to make it through. If you feel the choice to react negatively to your situation, first seek guidance from your heart. Move into your heart and see how you feel from there. Using your feelings, ask yourself this question. What is it I don't know about myself? What is it I don't know about myself? And push that out in all degrees as if it's a big energetic sphere going out into the universe. And quietly notice what may come back to you. And it may even come back to you in a dream tonight or tomorrow. Take a moment and express forgiveness for yourself. And then once you do that, express forgiveness for all others who have made, who have may have caused you harm or discomfort in your life. Forgiveness is one of the most powerful sources of connection to divinity and to source that there can be. Not one of us is perfect by any means. If we were meant to be perfect, we would be. But that doesn't mean we don't try to improve. So feel in your heart, look for in the very, very center of your heart, with your feelings, the word forgiveness. And forgive yourself for everything you may have done imperfectly, and especially for the things you may think you have done imperfectly. And understand that you are whole and loved and connected to all others. You deserve forgiveness. Now extend with your feelings the forgiveness for yourself to all others that may have caused you harm or inconvenience. They too are imperfect. That doesn't mean don't be discerning and don't be careful of your interaction with such people, but it does mean forgive them. Because when you forgive them, your resistance and your stress level will start to melt away. You must take care of yourself. You must take care of each other. We must take care of each other. Take a moment and gently feel around in your heart for the word gratitude. For some, it may be a bit of a challenge, and that's okay. But it's there. Feel it and express it. You all have unique gifts, and as a team, you are contributing immensely to society and to your family and friends and neighbors. Be grateful for that. Now, I'd gently like you to express thanks to all who assisted you today and to yourselves for taking care of yourself. And then gently come back into the room. You may wish to notice your breath. You may wish to open your eyes gently. You may wish to stretch, which is one of my favorite things. And then gently come back into the room. Thank you for that. I'd like to share a few closing thoughts with you. A dear friend of mine shared with me the other day, she's a big Queen fan. And if you've seen the movie Bohemian Rhapsody, you'll recognize this. In the song, We Are the Champions, one of the lyrics is, I've done my sentence, but committed no crime. How many of us feel like that, particularly during COVID? We all do. Is it right? Is it wrong? I would suggest not to get caught up in the right and wrong and just say, it is what it is, and do the things you can to improve your life, your family's life, your team members' lives, and everybody else's life. The last thing I'd like to mention is, as we spent time in our heart, recall when you've seen an electrocardiogram printout. What do you think about that? Well, I'll tell you, the most remarkable thing is it's not a straight line. It goes up and down, up and down, up and down. And life can be the same way. Life is not a line that goes straight up and everything gets perfect. There are things that go up and down. That's part of normal living, for whatever reason. Working together, being good to yourselves, perhaps starting gentle meditation or mindfulness practice on a regular basis. And that doesn't mean 5 days a week for 5 hours at a time. It can be 10 minutes here and there. That's a great start. But understand that up and downs in life are normal. And sometimes, such as the disruption with COVID, things feel a little darker and a little further down. But together, you and I and everyone, as a we, will overcome this. We'll be able to handle the stress. We will get through this situation. And you get through the situation by being good to yourself. Let's see what else we have here. By the way, if you go to my website, chasingmindfulness.com, under resources, there are free meditations. You can't download them, but they're provided free by the Monroe Institute, where I learned to study initially. They use binaural beat technology, which is trademarked as HemiSync. It will put you into a meditative state, whether you want to be or not. You need to use stereo earbuds or headphones. And I know this is going to sound like a joke, but you cannot operate heavy machinery listening to these meditations. Some of the meditations are so light that it's difficult for a person to discern that they're actually in a meditative state. And so be careful with that. Aside from that, thank you so much for joining today. I wish you the very best of your day and your week and your life. I would like to thank the leadership of Yancey Brothers and Brittany Wingham of Corporate Health Partners for giving me the honor of spending some time with you today. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.